I think a lot of people probably have a hard time fathoming, we're sitting here talking kind of a normal conversation, and here we are in a video, and it's a pretty good day for you. But a tough day, we're sitting, in a comfortable fireside chat,
Right.
but you have the support of family, and without that support of family and belief in you to get through this, I mean, you've shared some very tough times where you were on death's bed because of either misdiagnosis or improper medications, that you've been able to fight through this.
Right. Well, you mentioned earlier, Tim, about it's being divisive, and it is divisive. And I'm very lucky because my sister Katie,
Who we'll talk to in a little bit, and
Right.
they'll add some perspective to this whole story.
right, and you know Katie from when she was a little girl, and Katie also went to Langley, and Katie and her husband Cam, who went to Langley as well, they are my angels. I mean, if it weren't for them, I don't think I would be here, because it requires so much work. I had to have an advocate to even do the program that I'm in, and I had no idea what I was asking of Katie when I asked her to be my advocate. I mean, had I known then, I would not have asked her, but I couldn't do it, the doctor's regimen. That was a prerequisite.
In a way, ignorance is bliss in this situation.
It was.
The weight fell on Katie and Cam and family support that's come your way, but you've been here in their home, living in their basement for about 18 months now?
About 20 months.
18 to 20 months.
And I started to say that it's a divisive disease. It really has been very strenuous on our family. People tend to get on the internet and find information out, and there's lots of back and forth, this doctor's a quack, you should do this or you should do that. There's a lot of judgments made about, what kind of treatment you chose, and it does become very divisive and frankly very hurtful. So
because the medical field, and that trickles down to individuals and what they know and don't know, and what they believe or don't believe. And it seems from what I've learned in this short period of time is that people aren't open and aware enough to what the possibilities are for treatments, for cure, and what Lyme disease can and can't do. And they can go on the internet, but without truly knowing an experience like we're trying to share here and build awareness on, that people have to wake up, and that wake-up call is happening. I mean, this past year, the Super Bowl supported Lyme disease. There's an advertisement that was done tied into the Super Bowl. I've recently gotten a mailing from our local congressman, Frank Wolf, and one of the 6 main topics in his last mailing that he's done is right here, talking about Lyme disease.
He's wonderful. He's very supportive of Lyme. You mentioned the Super Bowl. And I'm probably going to get this wrong, but it's like the Daytona 500, a race that is coming up. They're also doing the big Jumbotron. So there's a huge push to get awareness out there. People need to know about this horribly debilitating illness.
There's people that believe that really needs to be known, and that's we're trying to make our little difference of awareness here today.
And I think it's important to point out to people that my case is particularly bad. Not everybody ends up in a wheelchair, and I hope and pray, and the reason I'm going through all this, and the reason I'm putting my beloved sister and her family through all this, is in the hopes that I will walk again, and that I will get well, and I'll be able to get my life back and be able to go to work again.
And that's great, the strength that you've shown. I mean, your friends and family and support that you've had. And we're here, and another reason we're here today is kind of to ask individuals to support you. And I know this is it's a hard thing for anyone to ask, for support. But if it is misdiagnosed, people can't fight through. And to actually have a chance to be here and talk about it, to get to the chronic stage, they either pass away or they
Yeah.
fight through it like you have. You're an exception to the rule, but that exception pays a price. It pays
Yeah.
a real price financially, mentally, and emotionally, as we've touched on with the family.
I have spent hundreds of thousands of dollars fighting Lyme. And I didn't know in the beginning that that's what I was fighting. But, you know, all those doctor visits, that all ended up being, you know, essentially a waste of time. I was diagnosed with everything, you know, and as I said,
To me, you sound like a doctor when you've told me the different diagnoses she's shared, you know, MS and this and that and all
Right.
these different,
ALS, Parkinson's, I mean, there's all, I got a lot of different diagnoses, not Parkinson's, but I was told on 2 or 3 different occasions that I had a horrible form of cancer. I had multiple myeloma, I was told. They wanted to do a bone biopsy, and you get really smart. And at that point, I was really smart. I was like, no, I don't think so. I'm not gonna have you drilling into my bone to do a biopsy just because you have a hunch that I've got multiple myeloma.
right.
And, you know, and this was when I already was trying to convince these doctors, I have Lyme disease. You know, I had a doctor tell me that I had Lyme disease. But it's funny, it was very bizarre to me how the medical community in general couldn't fathom it, didn't want to believe. They would just say, Lyme, no, Lyme doesn't behave like that.
Right.
So, and it took a lot of education and a lot of, and you know, you're trying to do this when you feel absolutely horribly because you have no energy. You are completely void of energy. I mean, now I know I'm getting somewhat better because I'm sitting here able to talk to you.
Right.
Yeah, I'm still in my wheelchair, and yeah, you know, this is my good time, and I'm going to crash after we're done talking. I'll have to go lay down.
Yeah, well, nobody saw you take 10 minutes to walk up the stairs. I mean,
Absolutely.
nobody has seen the different medications that you need to take daily. Some are orally, and then as far as the IV,
Right.
that ranges.
I'm
I mean,
completely, I've gone from being totally bedbound to now I'm, you know, just homebound. Like I'm in bed very much of the time, but at least now I'm able to get out once in a while. As I said, I've got this PICC line in. You can't shower easily with the PICC line, so my outing once a week is to go get my hair washed.
yeah.
You know, because there's no easy way for me. I can't just get in the shower and wash my hair. I can't lean over. My body it's getting stronger, but I'm so weak from the drugs and, you know, and from being immobile. And people I know want to say, well, you need to exercise, you know, well, why don't you go, and they can't really get it. You can't imagine what it's like to be paralyzed. You just can't. And it's really phenomenal. It's
And
just,
that paralysis that you have, it fluctuates. At
now,
times,
now it fluctuates. I mean, I was completely paralyzed.
right.
And that's something that you can't explain to anybody. Even my own family, you know, they didn't get it a lot of the times. My family who I live with, they got it, because they were the ones who were having to do everything for me all the time.
And I think the word everything is a probably underutilized word. I mean, people can't understand what everything means when it comes to at times helping you brush your teeth, helping you spoon feed,
Put my shoes on,
put your shoes on.
unbutton my pants.
Yeah, every
I mean,
little task.
I'm talking, you get so sick, you can't stand long enough to undo pants. I mean, today I have on jeans. Normally, I have on pajama pants
Yeah.
because I can't stand long enough to mess with, you know, undoing my buttons or, you know, because you lose all that. You got to go through therapy for all that, you know, learning how to, you know.
Velcro would be nice, but it's too hard to pull it off,
Yeah.
probably.
Yeah.
So
Well,
any sort of
Velcro
loose.
was
Is
preferable.
a friend, Velcro is a friend.
That's my friend.
And that's one thing that I've realized in our recent conversations. You've kept your humor about you, and I think that's part of why you've been successful in this fight. People will probably talk to you on the phone, and you probably haven't seen as many people lately over the years.
Right.
And you sound like Bee. You know, your voice actually sounds like you, so you couldn't be this person who's bedridden and fighting through this disease, but it's real, and it has been a fight for 17 years.
Yeah, I mean, it has been, not all at the same intensity. Like I said, I did make that recovery there for a little while where I was able to work, but then I just got slammed. It came back really
Because it was
hard.
misdiagnosed, and then it went dormant, and then it came back and slammed you. And 17 years of fighting this thing, like we talked about financially,
And wondering why I was always so tired. I mean, in the midst of all that, I ended up getting divorced.
Mhm.
And, you know, that's another tragedy of the disease, you know?
Yeah.
My family was torn apart.
Yeah.
And
You've had to make tough decisions with coming here to get the medical treatment. It means,
Yeah.
leaving your son behind up north.
yeah, I have a son who doesn't really know me in any other way, but my mom was always tired. you
Right.
know? And, I had to leave him when he was 15, and it's the hardest thing I've ever had to do.
Yeah. Well, you're brave to do it, without a doubt. And brave to actually be here, being videoed, wanting that awareness to come into play. So,
Yeah, you don't want this to happen anymore.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, we'll take a break.
Yeah.